It's an introduction to nice sugya. We saw yesterday if you eat truma, b'shoigeg, you chayev a keren v'choimish. We were makbid to say that it has to be an achila. Now the question was, what constitutes an achila? According to the Tanakama, it was you eat a kazayas, even if it wasn't worth a shava pruta. According to Abishol, even worth a shava, but is a shava pruta. The Papa wanted to suggest that Abishol needs both kazayas and a shava pruta in order to be considered an achila. We're about to embark on a brisa will show that Rabbi Papa had charata, and it'll say that no, only shava pruta and not a kazayas. So that's the key. The brisa is a difficult brisa. Here's the format of it, guys. The brisa wants to learn out. There's a din of me'ila by shogeg. In other words, if I b'shogeg have enough from hegdish, I also have to pay a keren v'choimish and bring a carbon ashna me'ilos. The Gemara brings the pasuk. The Gemara asks, why do you need a pasuk? You can learn it from a kal v'chomer. That kal v'chomer will be the point of discussion. And from one point that Rav Papa says on that kal v'chomer, we're going to ascertain that he had charata in his opinion of Abishol, that he must be only shava pruta and not both shava pruta and kazayas. So again, our mission is to see where Rav Papa had charata. That's going to take place on the Amid Aleph. Till we get there, we're going to go through a need for the pasuk of Me'ila because the kal v'chomer is not a good kal v'chomer. So let's begin on Afra Papa Hadabay. We're on Chaf Beis Amid Beis, and I would count up about 12 lines. V'Afra Papa Hadabay, the Tanya. V'Chota Bishkaga, the pasuk says V'Chota Bishkaga by Me'ila Prat Lemezid. This would exclude a mezid. If you have enough from hegdish b'mezid, you would not be chayav a keren v'chomish. V'haloi dinhu, says the Gemara, why do you need the pasuk? I can learn through a kal v'chomer that you be chayav, that you be part of by misa. What's the kal v'chomer? Umar sham mitzvahs, eating not to eat chaylev, not to eat dam. Shechay ben koris, if you do, poita ben es amezid, right? They would pat you b'mezid, you won't bring a carbon. Me'ila she'ein b'karis, me'ila that does not have a chi of karis, ein edin she'pater es amezid. It's not a kal v'chomer the pater amezid. So right now we're holding that karis more chama than me'ila. Now me'ila, in the me'ila by mezid, the chi of Gemara is saying now is misa b'dei shemayim. According to one opinion, is misa b'dei shemayim. The difference between Misa B'dei Shemayim and Karis, one of them is Karis can be on your children as well, not one's children as well. Sorry, one's children as well. You could use Karis Banim, whereas Misa B'dei Shemayim is to the individual. We hold Misa B'dei Shemayim is less severe than Karis. Karis is more severe, which is what we're holding right now. Madach, where there's a chi of Karis, you put the b'mezid.
We up too late.
I'm telling you, just rolling right along, and just boom, came down like a ton of bricks.
I lost the place here.
Yeah, I know. So, what the world's created for you?
I'm sorry. I just.
It's like hitting
right,
a pothole in the highway doing 60 miles an hour.
Bishvili never. Just 1 second.
Sorry.
Just 1 second.
Sorry.
Hesha, you deserve this. Baruch, can you say something to him, please?
I'm enjoying the comments and the fruit of my labor.
I just was trying to listen to you and then looking for the Gemara. So I was.
So you had interrupted.
I was.
All right.
I needed to interrupt.
I'm sorry, Harold. I felt like the door.
I apologize for the.
Heshy, we're not accusing you of anything.
But we're not speaking to Benji. We're talking to the rabbi directly.
Okay. Anyway, Hesh, we really didn't get into the Gemara that much, but we're on Lamed Beis Amid Beis. We're at Lamed Beis Amid Beis, about 10 lines up. Okay.
Pesachim, Heshy. It's in Pesachim. You have it?
He's not talking to you. Now, says the one more time. Chorus is more chomer than Misa, right? So watch. If Madach by Mezid, you're going to be part, let's say, from Makarvin. Certainly by Mazid, you're going to be pata by what? By Misa, by Me'ila. That's the Gemara. So why do I need the pasuk b'chata b'shkaga to tell me prat lemezid? Meaning, without the pasuk, I won't know it. Forget the pasuk. I have a kal v'chaymer to tell me mezid. It's pata from the carbon meal. You don't have to bring it, right? From a kal v'chaymer. Madach koris, which is more chamer than misa. You don't bring a carbon. Certainly what mezid. That's what the Gemara says right now. Now the Gemara says loyim amrit hesh. We're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 lines from the bottom. Got it? Loyim amit bishar mitzvahs shekein lechayev behen misa. Toima b'meila shechayev behen misa. You know why by mezid there is your pater is because you're not chayev misa b'dei shemayim. Masha'en kain by meila which you are chayev misa b'dei shemayim. Maybe you're chayev. Tamad Laimar, therefore, Bishkaga, Prat Lemezid, I need the pasuk. Now, if you were listening, we just reversed gears. Initially, you told me, what's Mochama? Karis. And now what are you telling me, Mochama? Misa. You just reversed yourself, guys. You said initially, Madach Chelev, which is a Chi of Karis by Misa Mezid. Certainly, Mila, which is Misa's Pata. Says the Gemara, Madach Mila, that you have Misa. Time about Chiv Karis, you don't have Misa. So now you went and told me Misa's more Chamer. Says the Gemara, for Amalei Rav Nachman Yitzchak Rav Chia bar Avin, said Rav Nachman to Rav Yitzchak bar Avin, Hai Tana me Kara Alimale Karis. This Tana initially, what was more Chamer? Karis. Ula b'Saif Alimale Misa. And at the end, you said Misa's more. Make up your mind. Which one is it? Is it Karis Mochamer or Misa Mochamer? So now, Amalei and Rabbi Chia bar Avin said to Rav Nachman Yitzchak, Hachi Kamar. Let's rewrite the Brisa. When the Brisa said, guys, look at the line. Loyim amit b'shar mitzvahs shekein l'chay b'hen Misa. Read it this way. Loyim amit b'shar mitzvah shekein lo chayev ben misa pachas mikizayis. You won't be chayev what? Pachas mikizayis. Meaning, of course, karis is more chama than misa. Of course, chametz is more chama than misa. However, mila has a chumrah that the other ones don't. That on mila you'll be chayev less than a kizayis. And by Misa, you won't be chayev less than a kazayas. So, guys, here, look at me. Don't look inside the Gemara. Says the Gemara, the pasuk says v'chata b'shkaga, that Mila is only when b'shoigig not b'mezid. Fred the Gemara, why do I need a pasuk? I have a kavachaymer, madach chi of karis. Mezid is pata. Certainly chi of Misa, Mila, mezid is pata. Says the Gemara then, what are you talking about? Mila has a Chi of Misa, and Chi of Misa that makes no sense. You just told me Karis Machama. So when it said you have a Chi of Misa, it doesn't mean you have a Chi of Misa. It means you have a Chi of Misa less than a Kazayas. Karis, you won't have less than a Kazayas, but here you'll have less than a Kazayas. So Karis is more Chamer, but I have a Kasher in your Kal V'Chaymer. You say that Shar Mitzvahs are more Chamer than Me'ila because of the Chi of Karis. I say Me'ila is more Chamer because you're Chayev less than a Kazayas. And now I destroyed the Kal V'Chayma, and therefore I need the pasuk. So, and now the text of the Gemara flows because you didn't change gears from Misa being Mohammed, and you just said Misa. The Misa of Me'ila is Mohammed because it's less than a Kazayas. That's the lashon of the Gemara. One more time, 4 lines up. Lo yemaret b'shar mitzvahs shekein lechayev ben Misa b'pachas mikazayas. You won't be chayev Misa less than a Kazayas. But not to say Misa is Mochama. The fact that the Chiyuv comes about less than the Kazayas is Mochama. Toima be'ila shechai ben Misa b'pachas b'Kazayas. The Amalei and Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak told Rav Chia bar Avin, Tanich daitcha, you should have menuchas hanefesh shenacht bedaiti, because you saved me. I didn't understand what was flying over here. I thought you went from Misa to Karis to Misa. Now Misa to Karis. No. You always said Karis is Muhammad. You gave me a shot to understand this price by saying the Misa is less than a Kazayas. So right now, again, our mission is to show Rav Papa only that had Charata. We haven't gone anywhere, scratched the surface of getting anywhere near there yet. But we have the beginning of a brisa. Okay, so right now, so Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak is happy. Rav Chia Bar Ravin, he went ahead and gave me Yishuv Adas. He understood something. V'amalei, and now he told him. Rav Chia Bar Ravin told Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak, "My nichusa, what nichum did I give you, guys? What's the nichum that you chayiv misa less than misa b'dei shemayim by misa by meila less than a kazayas? The Rabbi Rav Sheshes shad narga. They threw an axe. They threw an axe into the works, right? They're like a fly in the ointment. They just messed things up. They took an axe and they threw it in. What did they throw in? The following. Man shamit la amid aleph. The Amar hazid b'meila b'misa. Who is the one who says? If you do b'mezid b'meila yechai misa b'dei shemayim? Rebbe it's Rebbe. Titanya hazid b'meila. If you were mazid, meaning you have enough from hegdish on purpose, Rebbe oimer b'misa yechai misa b'dei shemayim. The chacham oimrim be'asara. It's a lav. My time with the Rebbe, Amar Rebbe Vahu, Gomar Chet Mitruma, one of the more famous Kesei Shavas in Shas. You learn out Chet Mitruma. It says by Truma, it says V'chata B'shkaga, it's by Meila, it says by Truma La Yisel of Chet, Ma Truma B'misa, just like if you eat Truma B'mezid Yechai Misa B'dei Shemayim, Af Meila, so to Meila, B'misa, you B'chayev what? Misa b'dei shemayim. Umina, and continue to learn. Ma truma b'kazayis, af mila b'kazayis. You got that? Guys, listen up. It's tremendous. It's super long this here. Guys, listen up. What's our kal v'chomer? Our kal v'chomer is predicated upon that shar mitzvahs are more chomer because they're chayiv karis, and Mila is chayiv misa, and you want to say Mila is chayiv misa on less than a kazayas. Good, but the Amma who holds that you chayiv misa, the source he learns it from tells us not only are you chayiv misa, you're only chayiv misa on a whole kazayas. You can't split hairs. You're splitting two. You're saying on one hand you chayiv misa, but also on less than the kazayas. It doesn't work. You learn that misa from chet mi truma, and by truma you need a kazayas. So too, if you hold misa by meila, you'll also need a kazayas. So be back to the original problem. Go back to the original kal v'chomer. We bring in a pasuk that says v'chata b'shkaga. Fred Gemara, why do I need a pasuk by meila? Prat lemezid, I have a kal v'chomer. Madach koris yechayev. Some certain, yeah, Madachayev b'mezid yapata. So too meila b'mezid, which is only misa yapata. You'll ask ma le meila that yechayev b'misa on less than a kazayas. Stop right there. It's not true, guys. Right there, you hear that line? Yechayev misa on less than a kazayas. It's not true. If you hold yechayev misa, you also need a full kazayas. Because how do you learn that misa? From truma. Truma. Because they Rishava will tell you that not only you chayiv misa, but you also have kazayas. So we didn't save face. We're back to the original question of not having pshat in the kal v'chomer. And now we're finally getting to what we have to get to, which is disproving Habashol, that Rav Papa said that Habashol needs both the kazayas and a shava pruta. Umaskal Rav Papa. Memai de Rebbe kirabanan svirale. How do you know Rebbe holds like the Rabbanon that you need the kazayas? Dilma kabashol svirale. Maybe he holds like Abishol that what you need what shava pruta. Good, fellas, you with me? Began share today. You eat what's considered an achila to be chayav keren v'chomish by truma. Says the Chachamim Kazayis. Says Abishol Shava Pruta. Rav Papa wanted to suggest what? Even Abishol holds both, right? Look what the Gemara just said. How do you know that Rebbe holds like the Rabbanan, that you need a Kazayis? Maybe he holds like Abishol that holds what? Shava Pruta and a Kazayis, right? Right? If he holds both, correct? Rav Papa is talking. So Rav Papa says, maybe he holds like Abishol, that it must be only a Shava Pruta. Because if it's Kazayas, he didn't gain anything. So you see that he had Charata. So it says the Gemara. Rav Papa the Amar the Abishol Tarti Boy. And now Rav Papa is suggesting that he holds like Abishol, that only a Shava Pruta, not a Kazayas. Shmamino Hadabay. Shmamino that he had Charata. Okay, guys, we proved the point. We're just going back now to explain the Brisa. Okay, listen up. I'm going to go over everything again one more time. Not an easy Gemara. The Gemara, a whole purpose of the Gemara is to prove that Abishol had, that Rav Papa had Charata. We had a machloikis between the Rabbanon and Abishol. What constitutes an achila to be chayiv keren v'chaimish by truma b'shogeg? The Chacham said he has to eat a kazayis of truma. Abishol said he had to eat a shava pruta, even if it's less than a kazayis. Right? Rav Papa wanted to suggest maybe Abishol owes both. You need a kazayis and a shava pruta. Al korchach from you see that he had charata because of the limud of the limud we have. From the limud, he obviously said that only a shava pruta, not a kazayis. Now, what's our limud? Our limud is, why do you need to say a pasuk by Me'ilah? You got a kal v'chomer, chorus to misa, and then we have a kasha. Lo yem amit by Me'ilah that you chayiv something. We wanted to suggest you're chayiv misa on less than a shava pruta. We weren't successful. Now we're going back just to learn pshat in that brisa, totally lishma. In other words, we accomplished what we wanted Rav Papa. Now we're going to learn another possibility of pshat in that brisa, the chumrah that Me'ilah has, that you don't have a kal v'chomer, that you need a pasuk. Guys, listen to that topic statement. That's the whole Gemara. If I have a kal v'chomer, I don't need the pasuk. If I slug up the kal v'chomer, I need the pasuk. We attempted to slug up on the kal v'chomer saying Yechayiv Misa even less than a shava pruta. We were less than a kazayas. We weren't successful. So now we're going to find another shlugam. So here's another shlugam. We'll have two more. So look at the Taisus Af Mila, parallel to the Taisus Af Mila the kazayas. Ma'abrei the Ravna Amar, Mar the son of Ravna said, Hachi Kamar. Here's the upslug of the brisa that you need the pasuk. Lo yemar mit b'shar mitzvahs, shloi asa behen she'ein miskavin ki miskavin. A regular mitzvah, we will not make ein miskavin ki miskavin. For example, like Hilchos Shabbos, sheniskavin lachtich es hatolosh. You want to cut something that is disattached. You are allowed on Shabbos to cut something that's disattached. You would not be over on kaitzer if you're cutting something that's disattached. That's from that's let's say from a human being or an animal. Toilish from the ground. You wouldn't be over on toilish. The chotach es hamechuber. So I took a scissor. I went to cut something that is what? Disattached. And I ended up cutting something that's attached. I'd be potter. Because by Shabbos, we all know, meleches machsheves be'inan. You need the malacha that you wanted to do. And I didn't want to do this. But toima b'me'ilah she'im niskavin l'hischamein begizei chulin. You're going ahead, you want to heat up your hand. You're going to stick it, there's two clumps of wool. One is the carbon oila, one is regular wool. You machavin to put your hand in the regular wool, you end up putting it in the oila. You're going to be moil behegdish. So the action that you put by Shabbos, you be chayiv by Me'ilah. That's the chumrah that Me'ilah has, that you didn't have a kal v'chomer, that you needed the pasuk. That's the upshlag on the kal v'chomer. Me'ilah has a chumrah that you're mechayim ain't a miskavin like miskavin, right? Is that so? Torah b'ilish and miskavin is schamim begizei tzemer. You want to stick your hand in chulin, in the schamim begizei oila shemal. You'd have Me'ilah. So guys, that's the pircha that slugs up your kal v'chomer, and that's why we need the pasuk v'chata b'shkaga. Another slug up. Why Me'ilah is more chomer and your kal v'chomer is not a kal v'chomer. Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak Amar, Hachi Kamar, Lo Yimarmit B'Shar Mitzvahs, Shekein Lo Mischayev Behen, She'ein Misasek Ki Misasek. Now, in the previous case, you wanted to cut. The action of cutting you did. It just was the wrong spot. But the act of chituch was with a scissor. You wanted to cut A and you cut B, but you did cut. This is even more removed. You want to lift up the disattached. So that's two different actions. One, you want to lift up, and you ended up cutting. I'm sticking my hand into a kli to get something. And my hand gets smeared with shemen of kodesh. Shema'al. Guys, this is even a higher madrega. You didn't, by shar mitzvahs, you didn't want to do that action at all. You wanted to pick up and you ended up cutting. By me'ilah, you didn't want to do that action. I just wanted to get something. And I ended up smearing my hand. But the first case, chituch, you wanted to cut. You just cut the wrong thing. Over here is even more removed. I didn't want to do this action at all. And it's not even the action I was mechaben for. I was mechaben to pick up something and I smeared my hand with oil. That chumrah you be chayiv milah for. Memela milah is more chumrah than shar mitzvahs. And therefore you need the pasuk of the chota b'shkaga. Therefore you need that pasuk. That's the end of the sugya. So again, the machloikis, the maskana, do you need by achila of truma, bishogeg? Tanakama says a kzayis, even if it's not worth a shava pruta, and Abishol says a shava pruta, even if it's not a kzayis. The rest is questions back and forth, but that's the din. Okay, and we had a pshat in a brisa, me'ilah, three possibilities why me'ilah is more chamar than regular mitzvahs. One, Yechayiv unless not a kazayas, we slug that up. Two, misasek, cutting one thing and cutting another thing. Three, misasek, wanting to do one action of picking up, doing another action of cutting. You be chayiv by me'ilah. So since I'm a chayiv by me'ilah, I don't have a kal v'chaymer, therefore I need a pasuk of a chot b'shkaga prat lemezid. Getting back to Pesachim for a little while. Amamar, right? It said we had a brisa that said on the Lamed Beis Amid Aleph. When are you chayiv? If you eat it on chametz for Pesach, you be chayiv. Is b'mafish truma. You separated truma. It was full-fledged truma. V'chmitza, and it became chametz on Pesach. Then you be chayiv. Aval hifish chametz truma. If you separated truma and it was chametz already, divya kol ain't a kedusha. Everyone says it's not kaddish. So let's say, guys, you have a chita crab that is overripe. So generally, something that is attached to the ground cannot become chametz. It won't ferment. But if it's overripe, it should be picked. It could be. So let's say the rain came down on overripe chitim, and now you're separating it. So that would be separating trumas chametz. So if you in other words, one case it was truma and it became chametz. In this case, it was already trumas chametz before you separated it. So now, avol hifish chametz, chametz truma dirbiakol. Everyone would say that it's not kaddish. Menani mili. How do I know this distinction? So Amrav Nachma Yitzchak Omakra. It says the pasuk Titein Loi should go ahead and Titein Loi. Do I have a pasuk over here? Titein Loi. Let me see. Reishis the gancha tiroishcha v'yitzarecha. The first of your dagan, of your grain, tiroishcha, of your wine, v'yitzarecha, your oil. It says titein loy. You should give to him to the kohen. So we darshan, right? Titein loy v'loy la'oyroi. Give it to him that he can use it. Don't give it to him to burn. It already was chametz, guys. Already was chametz. You're separating trumas chametz. What can he do with it? All he can do is to burn it. But the pasuk says in giving over truma, it says titein loy. Give it to him, meaning something of use that he could use, as opposed to something he has to burn. So therefore, I know if it's Trumas Chametz, it's not going to what? It's not going to work. Maser Rav Huna, very sure, he has the kasha, ain't tarmim min atameya l'tahira. If you have truma, if you have crop that's tamei, and you have a crop that's tahar, don't separate that tamei dika crop on the tahar dika crop and give it to the kohen, because you're being mafsid the kohen. The kohen's taking a loss. He's only going to be able to use it as a fuel. He won't be able to eat it. So you can't be mafresh from tamei l'tahira. However, the imtaram, if you do it, b'shaygeg truma say truma. If you do it b'shaygeg, it's a good truma. V'amai lema titain loy v'loy lo'oray. If it's tamei, the only thing you can use it for, guys, is the fuel. So why b'di'eved b'shaygeg? If you go ahead and separate, is it a good truma? Applying the pasuk that we just said, titain loy v'loy lo'oray, it should not be good truma. The truma tameya can only be used lo'oray, so it should not be good. And for the Gemara, Chasam Hayla Shasa Kosher. Over there was a Sasha Kosher where you could have given it to the Kohen. It was once upon a time, it was Tahar and then it became Tameh. Hacha, over here, the Trumas Chametz, Loi Hoysala Shasa Kosher. It never had a time where it wasn't Chametz. It never could be Loi. It can never be to give to him. Udloi Hoysala Shasa Kosher Echidami. How do you find such a case? As I told you, Kigoin, for example, the Achmitz, the mechuber, it became chametz when it was attached to the ground. The grain was mature; it got rained upon, and therefore the wet grain that was mature became chametz. So since it was chametz, that's titain loy. You're not giving him anything. Conversely, if once upon a time you could give it to him, and before it became tamei, it had a shasa kosher, then it's considered titain loy, and you can give it to him. Aval achmetz betalush hachanami de kitsha. Mashma, if it became chametz after it was disconnected, you could give it to him. Amalei in, it's true. And he applies the pasuk, B'gezeras irin piskama, said Rav Nachman by Yitzchak, B'gezeras irin piskama, by the decree of the angels, and umamayme kedishay shilte. This I asked the holy guys in Beis Medrash, they were masking to this pshat. V'chein moirim midrasha, kavasi, like me, to the chilik between when it was chametz, when it was connected, versus it was only became chametz after it was talish. Okay, so one pshat that the whole din of the Mishnah is speaking where it became chametz when it became chametz after Pesach, but before Pesach, when it became chametz, it was trumas chametz. Then we would not say this din of what of achila of achilas keren v'chaimish timechayev. Kiyasser Rav Huna Rabbi Yeshua, he's going to say, even if it became chametz after it's talish, it also is not kaddish. Even if it became chametz, he's going to disagree with Rav Nachman by Yitzchak. Even if you disconnected it and it became chametz, it's not kosher. What does the pasuk say? We just quoted the pasuk. The pasuk said, "Reishis the goncha," right? Reishis the goncha, tiroisha v'yitzarecha, titein lo. Reishis, you know what reishis means? First, sheshirecha nikarim liYisrael. That the shirayim are nikah to Yisrael. Yatzazazu she'ein shirayim nikar. Rashi explains like this, guys. When you have tevel, it's asa for Yisrael to have anah. You can't do anything with it. When you reishis, you separate reishis the goncha. What does that do? It makes the tevel now mutar behana. You can now use it, right? So the act of reishis makes makad shirayim to Yisrael that it's okay. If it's chametz and you're separating it, you couldn't use it before and you can't use it afterwards. That's not a reishis. Reishis means a first that mat is something else, that makes something else recognizable. Over here, if you're going to go ahead and have existing chametz, even though it became chametz after it was disconnected from the ground, you haven't changed the status. It was asa b'hana before, it's asa b'hana afterwards. By truma, what you need is reishis the goncha. The reishis creates nikr that while it's recognizable, that you can have enough from it, and therefore it wouldn't work according to Rav Huna Berei Rav Yeshua. It wouldn't work even if it became chametz after it was disconnected. Yatzazu shein shiram nikarim. Yosef Rav Acha bar Avya Kamed Rav Chisda. Yosef Amar Mishmeid Rav Yochanan. Get ready for just when you thought it was safe to get back into Rabbi Chanina Sagana Kahanim, you thought that what? You finished with Truma V'Taira? See, you didn't look at Penny. It made Penny sick. Penny has that, see that look, that sick look on his face? Right? There you go. Okay, guys, let's go over some halachas that we did learn. Remember, in order to for Eichel to Makabel Tumah, Eichel to transmit Tumah, it has to be the share of a Beitza. To transmit Tumas Eichlin, it has to be the share of a Beitza. Machlokes whether to Makabel Tumah, whether it has to be a Beitza or it can even be a Kol Shehu. By Mashka, it could be a Kol Shehu. By Mashka, it could be a Kol Shehu. So we have some very interesting case over here. How do you view the grape juice in the grape? Do you view it as absorbed in the wall of the grape and therefore it's considered part of the grape? Or do you view it like the grape is a kli and it's contained within the kli? Nafkamina would be if the outside of the grape becomes tameh. If you view the grape juice as absorbed in the grape, it'll be tameh as well. If, however, you view it like a pocket contained within inside, then the grape will be tameh, but the mashka will still be tahar. Says the Gemara. Anovim shenitmu, anovim grapes that became tameh, dorchim pachas mikabeya. Go ahead, process them, squeeze them out, less than a bait. So use, guys, first of all, use a pshute kliates. Use a flat board, which is not makabel tumah. Now, if the grape is less than a beitza and you're squeezing it out, the yayin koshel in a sofin. This yayin will be kosher for the highest calling. You'll be able to use it for the libations on the mizbeach, despite the fact that the kernel of the grape is tameh. Alma ksava mashkin mifkat pkidi. Right? We had the Gemara, if dam mifkat pocket, right? We say by nidov. Is dam mifkat pocket was damat chaburi michbar. Right? So over here, we'll say mifkat pocket, that it's inside the grape, and therefore it's not tameh as a result of the grape being tameh. And if you process it, so when could it become tameh, guys? When it drips out of the grape and it so touches the grape. But the grape now is less than a beitza. If the grape is less than a beitza, what can't it do? It can't transmit tumah. So using the ideas we have from Rabbi Chanina, it works beautifully, guys. You have a grape that's tameh. The grape juice inside is tahar because it's not considered part of the grape. You squeeze it out, now it drips outside, it's touching the outside of the grape. But the grape, despite the fact that the grape is tameh, it's not a beitza. If its grape is not the size of a beitza, it doesn't have the capacity to go ahead and transmit tumas eichlin. There you go. Fred the Gemara, why don't we say it's metama when you squeeze it? Says the Gemara, less in the shireha. When you go ahead and squeeze it, no longer is it a beitza. It doesn't have the share of a beitza. Fred the Gemara, ihachi kebeitza nami. Guys, anavim shenitmu dorchim pachas mikabeitza. Fellas, why do you say less than a beitza? Even if it starts off the full share of a beitza, as soon as you squeeze it out, it's going to be less than that. So why do you have to start off less than a beitza? Even if you start off as the share of a beitza, eventually it's going to be less, so it won't transmit tumah, right? As soon as the liquid comes out, the beitza shrinks. So why do you limit it to less than a beitza? Go ahead and make it even the share of a beitza. Ditnan, tamei meis, shachat zeisim v'anavim, right? Kibeitza muchavenes, a person's tamei tumis meis, again using a pshute kliates, he goes ahead, squeezes out olives and or grapes, which beitza mechuven exactly the size of a beitza, taharim tahar. So therefore the Gemara so we have the tahar shaila. Now it's simply a mechanical shaila. Why only limit it to what? A grape that's less than a beitza. Even say a grape that's the size of a beitza. We see tamei meis, it did work when it was exactly the size of a beitza. And if the Gemara Hassan by the tamei meis, the of it, it's not speaking lechatchila, it's speaking b'di'evet, right? It says tamei meis shesachat. It doesn't say that he could do it. It means shesachat, that he did do it. But if he would have done it initially, we wouldn't have allowed him to do it. Why not? Hachal lechatchila. Gezeira dilma asi lemeva yosim mikabetza. We won't let you use the share of a beitza because you may come to go and use the share more than a beitza. We will let you use the share less than a beitza because even if you move up a little bit, you can move up from less than a beitza to a beitza. Right? You don't want to get to the 50-yard line, right? So we'll keep you at the 40. Why will we keep you at the 40? Because if we keep you at the 40, because you get to the 45, you may get to the 50. By keeping you to 40, you'll only get to the 45. Push it. Guys, good? Again, somehow this is going to tie into the sugya that we're doing, but right now it's simply tumah v'tayra and not difficult at all.
Rabbi, why don't we say that the grape is a shomer to it and it's part of the grape and it's buckled to it, like we say by our Reitiv, with a yad and a shomer. If you have a shomer, the shomer is buckled to the actual thing.
I guess if you say mifkat pocket, it's not part of it. I get it's not part of it.
Okay.
I don't know. I really don't know. I you know, Arva Reitiv is not at the tip of my tongue, if you know what I mean. So now, Amalei Rav Chisda, man sayis lecha. Who's going to listen to Rav Acha bar Avya, Rav Yechon Rabbach? Who's going to listen to them? That this din of what of dam mifkat pocket of the mifkat pocket. Where did the tumah go? In other words, there is tumah in these grapes. What happened to it? You're telling me it ends up being worthy for the sakim? What happened to these grapes? Right? Look at Rashi, guys. Tumah shebehen, where the lines get wide, count down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines down. Tumah shebehen shekiblu tchila ima oichel keshenimu anavim. Where did it go to? There's tumah here. Where did it go? Now, we explained it, but he's having a problem with it, and we'll see why right now. Alma, when he asked this question, Kosavar mashkin mivla bli. The mashkin is not considered mifkat pocket. The mashkin is absorbed in the fruit. So if the fruit is tameh, guys, the mashkin is tameh. Again, there's two ways you can view grapes. You can view it as being withheld in a separate chamber inside, which is the way Rabbi Yochanan viewed it, or you can view it as being absorbed in the walls, in the meat of the grape. And therefore, if the grape is tameh, the mashka that's absorbed is tameh. And obviously, if Rav Chisda asked this question, where did the tumah go to? He must hold that the mashkin's tameh machmas the meat of the grape because it was absorbed. He must hold mashkin mivla bli. The kivin the itmala uchla, since you were matama the grape, itmala mashkin. It's matama the mashkin. Amalei. So he told Rav Chisda, v'yatlei tizbra the mashkin mifka pkidi. For Tanan, we had the case by Tamei Meis. Tamei Meis shesachat zeisim b'novim v'chubenes kebeitza tohira. Iyan b'shleim mifka pocket. If you're going to say very good at what it's contained within, mishamachi tohirin. Therefore, it's tahar. El iyam mivla b'li. If you can tell me it's absorbed, amai tohirin. So it's the kashan of Chisda. Really, it's part of it's absorbed in the meat of the grape, and really it should be tamei. The reason why there it works, the person was tamei mace, is because these grapes cannot be mekabel tumah. Why? Because there was never any hakshara. There never was one of the 7 mashkins falling on them. So now, leimis miskashri. At which point in time did they get muchshar? When you squeeze them out. So you took a grape that was exactly the size of a beitza. It was not mukhshal kabel tuma. Your tummy tumis mace. You squeeze it out. What falls on it? Grapes, lit grape juice. Grape juice is one of the liquids, right? But at this point in time, guys, the grape is less than a beitza. Therefore, what? Everything's hunky dory. Kisachalahu batzlahu shirei. When you squeeze it out, it makes less than the shira beitza. If you don't say that it was mivla bala, hadatanya, halam is doime, and this is why we're bringing it in, guys. This is the reason we're bringing it in. Okay, let me show you. Let's go back in time. The whole reason we brought this in, this is a classic Gemara. 2 Gemaras explaining a bunch of extraneous things to bring in one line that we quoted. Machlokes between Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri, right? We go to the Brisa. We said it's a machlokes tanoim. Ha'ochel trumas chametz b'Pesach, right? Pata minat tashlumim. V'yi trumas chametz is pata tashlumim, and the Rabbi Akiva, because he holds that what? That you go after damim. Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri mechayev. Amar Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri. K'ma no yeshba. What another do you have? Amar Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri. Rabbi Akiva. Ma no yesh loichel trumas tmeya b'shak chayim esashana shemishalim loy. Lo yimran b'trumas tmeya b'shayim esashana. Even though what you have a heter achila, you can go ahead and burn it. What are you going to say about this? So says Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri, you know what chametz on Pesach is similar to? L'trumas tutim v'anavim. It's similar to truma of grapes and berries. Shenitma she'en lebo leheta achila v'leheta asaka. You had no heter to eat it, and you had no heter to burn it because it doesn't burn. But so now, for those two lines that Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri retorted to Rabbi Akiva, that chametz on Pesach is like truma of berries or truma of anavim that you can't do anything with. And now let's see, what are we bringing this in for? Let's see now. Hatanya lama zedaime the trumas tutim v'anavim shenitma she'en lebo leheta achila v'leheta asaka. 1 second. Haheta achila nami yispei. You do have a heta achila. The boy dorich le pachas mikabetza. If you want, you can go ahead and according to you, you can go ahead and process it less than a beitza. You good? In other words, we want to bring a raya from the words of Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri that the grape is muvla, it's inside. And the whole reason by the mason you could do it because it was a mukhsha. Because if it was mukhsha, what could you do with it? You can't burn it and you can't eat it. Fred the Gemara, if the grape is mifkat pocket, you should be able to eat it. Ella must be you can't eat it because it's considered part of the fruit. It's considered tamei machmas the fruit. Says the Gemara, Amarava gezerid dom asi behuli de takala. The reason why you can't eat them is really you could eat them, but if you can leave them around, you may come to a takala. Now there's really the dam. The blood, I keep on saying the dam. Really, the grape is mifkat pach and it's not tamei. But the grape is tamei. The mashkin's not. We don't want you keeping tamei grapes around. So therefore, we say you can't eat them. So are you really chayish for takala v'tanya? Madlikin bepas ubeshemen shel truma shenit mas. You can burn, right? You can burn madlikin. You can go ahead and burn. You can burn pas and shem of truma shenit mas. It's mutter to go ahead, go to a tanner, take pas of truma that's tamei and shem that's tamei, and go ahead and burn it. But 1 second, how could you keep it around? Aren't you worried it's tamei? So amalei pas is zarek lei ben eitzim. You know what you do with the pas? You throw it with the wood. Since you throw it with the wood, we're not worried that other meat. You're not going to keep food near the wood. And shemen shel truma. What are you going to do with that? Is romilei bekli mois. You're going to put the shemen of truma in a disgusting kli, which you would never come to use to cook. So therefore, there's nothing to worry about. Okay, Bez Hashem, tomorrow I'll post what I'm saying, share, or else it'll be online. I wish everyone a very, very good Shabbos.
Yeah, feel good, Rabbi.
Rabbi, thank you.
Foolish